We take off with big news out of IKEA this week. And
oh, Chris, that is right. This was one of my favorite headlines of this week.
for sure. Yeah.
According to the Wall Street Journal, IKEA plans to invest $3.2 billion in its stores. They are planning to modify between 30 to 40% of their big box stores to include new additions like parcel distribution centers to help distribute online orders. In addition, the retailer also said that it would use part of the investment to open more city center stores in places such as Stockholm, Toronto, and London, where IKEA plans to invest 1.2 billion euro for a new store on Oxford Street. Chris.
Yes.
I'm also going to once again put you on the spot right away.
Right off the bat, second week in a row.
Even the day that you step in dog poop.
Welcome to my nightmare. The water is warm, people.
Okay, we want to hear your thoughts.
All right.
A&M also wants to know, Chris, IKEA's massive store footprints today are perfectly positioned to become distribution centers. You've talked about this many times for as long as I've known you. You've been talking about this.
Yes, I have actually. That's true.
Almost as if they planned for this a long time ago. Can the IKEA customer experience possibly be the same if you can't get lost in their planned smaller city center footprints?
Ooh, that is a really good question. That actually might be my favorite A&M question of all time. I haven't said that about this. I know I say this is my top headline of the year, but I haven't said that. That might actually be my favorite question because, well, I think to answer it, does it put their current format in jeopardy or the way they do their business in jeopardy? I would say no. I think the reason I say that is I think IKEA is really smart about this. And I think what they're trying to do here is hit another trip type.
Yep.
So for example, like I bring up the story of like, they were talking about putting one of these smaller formats in San Francisco, right? And they still have one out in like in the East Bay as well, like the huge mega store. Yeah. And then they have another one down south too, I think at this point. But I mean, back, and I'll use my experience of when I was living in San Francisco, they had one in the East Bay. And so like that trip type where you go to the big super center and the idea is you get lost, that is perfectly designed for the chore. And this is why I hit Wayfair so hard, where they need to go after this, because this is a real thing where you move it. You're going through this. You need to move into a new house. You've got to get a lot of stuff, and you got to get a lot of stuff right then that day. And it's not efficient to buy all that stuff online.
Right.
So people will make that trip like within a certain distance, right? There's a certain point where it becomes too far, but the trip type for the urban liver though is a little bit different. Like, yeah, they might still go do that, but there are other points in time where you just want to go hunt and peck and find things that you want for that moment or get inspired by how you want to do some design. So I think in that instance, if that's what they're playing to here, which it sounds like they are, because these are more showroomy type concepts, I think it makes a ton of sense. And so getting back to the headline too, I love this headline. You said it, but like I've been talking about for 5 years now. I first started in my swingers party speech where I talked about IKEA being the perfect example of the setup for omnichannel retailing, because you have the warehouse in the back, the showroom on the front. The key was, though, it wasn't necessarily designed for e-commerce fulfillment. So the fact they're going to take, 40 to 60% of their stores and rejigger them this way makes a ton of sense. Because you're right. They might have 2 stores in a market. They don't need to do it for both. They can service the whole market from e-commerce. It's just brilliant. And these guys know what the hell they're doing. They continue to impress.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I love this approach. And you're talking about the trip types being different. And I think that's really important. I also think that if you think about, especially over the last couple of years, just the evolution of buy online, pick up in store for IKEA, like that used to be
they're not set up
non-existent, but now even in their major stores, I mean, anecdotally, like as I've moved my patterns to, I'm picking up curbside. I know exactly what I want to get. I just need I need another Billy bookcase or whatever. And I think that they're really starting to shift to this mindset of now we can go in a smaller footprint, an urban footprint where people can order ahead of time and just pick up. We're going to take that experience that we've seen success with over the course of the last couple of years and offer that in a smaller footprint. I'm also hopeful that we start seeing in these stores. There wasn't a lot of mention of this in that article or in IKEA's release, but I'm hopeful that we start seeing Scan and Go, like what they launched in Shanghai last year, and starting to deploy not only like the buy online, pick up in store components to this, but and the warehousing components, but also the shopping experience front end being simpler and easier for people who are going through and walking through the store. But the other thing I think is really cool about this, Chris, I love this concept for malls.
Right.
I love this concept, especially, you know what I really love this for?
Anchor locations.
I was just talking to a local shopping district owner, landlord this week. And I was like, this is a perfect thing for like even an A-list mall, right? Because he's got like, he wants to draw in a younger crowd. Everybody, regardless of income level, is interested in some IKEA. Like people have IKEA products in, multi-million-dollar homes. And this is the most convenient way to do this in a small footprint. It's brilliant. Like I think the possibilities with this are endless and I love it.
Yeah, I 100%, and I love that point. And like I just looked it up too, like the example of Market Street in San Francisco. Like it's essentially that, you know, like that's what you're talking about. And your point too about the design for, how do you think about this for returns, the resale products that they're trying to get into and rolling out nationwide? Like it just makes sense. It's the right time to do it. 100%. Kudos all around on this one.